Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
The sun is long gone. Temperatures continue to drop, making the Moorhead homes tonight without natural gas even colder than before.
About 975 homes are without heat after a snowplow damaged Xcel Energy equipment. Valley News Team's Veronica Marshall is live with the latest on when the gas will be back on and how residents can help with those efforts. Veronica?
All right, Mike, Andrea, I'm here with Mark Nesbitt with Xcel Energy. So, Mark, I think the number one thing people want to know right now is when they can expect to have their heat back on if they lost it due to the natural gas outage.
Yes, and that's an interesting time to be visiting with us. We have pressurized the lines. We're going to have about 100 crew members in the neighborhood, and so they'll be relighting. So this is that critical time when if you've been somewhere else, if you could be home, so when we knock on the door, we can help you light up those appliances and get the heat on. And with the number of people we have in the neighborhoods, we're thinking by midnight we should have made one pass through all of the neighborhoods, and then we'll go back and check if there are any homes we weren't able to access on the first go around.
Okay, and if you are still dealing with cooler temperatures in your home right now just because you haven't had that heat running throughout the day, what are you guys doing to help them out?
Well, we're still here on the Concordia campus with these heaters that we're giving away to people, and just had somebody in who was with the group home, and they say the temperature's holding up pretty well, but as it's getting colder and darker, we were pleased to be able to help them with that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us, Mark. For now, though, I'm going to turn it back to you in the studio. Andrea?
Okay, thank you, Veronica. There's still a massive road closure in Moorhead on 8th Street South between 12th and 24th Avenues.
We're still awaiting word from authorities on the names of the officer wounded and one of 3 people killed in last night's shooting in Hubbard County, Minnesota. We were able to get the names and the photos of 2 women who were killed. They are 36-year-old Candy Krotzer Gucci and 39-year-old Heidi Krotzer Pierce. We're told that they were shot while picking up their nieces and nephews from a home in Nevis that is also a daycare. Those close to the victims tell us the shooter came out of the home, shot both women, forced one of them into a car, and then fled. The gunman led sheriff's deputies on a car chase while exchanging gunfire. The Hubbard County Sheriff says that's when a deputy was wounded.
This is a huge thing. They're not only, my men, my staff, they're my friends. They're my coworkers. I treat them more as a coworker than anything. And it's rough, listening to the radio traffic, hearing people hollering, shots fired. It's tough. It really is.
The suspect's car ended up in a ditch. Authorities say he left the car and shot at deputies before getting back in. He was later found dead in the vehicle. The woman who was shot earlier was also found dead in the car. No children were injured in this tragic incident.
The identities of 3 deputies who discharged their firearms during an officer-involved shooting in Itasca County in early February have now been released. It happened February 3rd near Hill City. Officials say Sergeant Ryan Gunderson, Lieutenant Albert Morse, and Deputy Derek Peterlin have been placed on standard administrative leave. The man injured during the shooting has been identified as 42-year-old Roy Miller. He's still recovering from his injuries at a hospital in Duluth. Authorities say the investigation is still ongoing.
It's a good thing it's quiet now because it sounds like it won't be that way later this weekend. We're in for some snow, and in some areas, Hutch says a lot. My snowblower is getting a workout, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, I might need to get the gas can filled up once again myself. A very quiet evening tonight in the valley, but temperatures dropping very quickly. It's 11 below zero in Fargo, 18 below this hour in Devil's Lake. So bitter cold out there while snow develops to our south and west. Winter storm watch in place out to the west into parts of central South Dakota. And there will be some of our counties that will be getting some snow, as this likely will be getting upgraded as the storm gets a little closer. But no storm tonight. Temperatures slipping into the 10 to 15 below for most locations by morning, with a few clouds keeping us from getting too cold by daybreak. I'll have details on the onset of the snow, how much we're expecting, and we'll take a look at some much milder air in the forecast here in just a few minutes.
Okay, that evens it out. Thanks.
The search for a missing woman is over. Authorities in Jamestown found the body of 58-year-old Ramey Rath this afternoon, about 5 miles south of Kensal, North Dakota. A deputy first found her vehicle Thursday night, along with tracks that led him to believe Rath may have been picked up by a farmer earlier in the day. Crews were sent out to retrieve the vehicle, and that's when they discovered the body. Rath was last seen Thursday morning.
Police are warning you about an email scam. The scammer claims to be with Fargo Police and says that you need to pay a parking ticket. The email is in the top photo of this particular story and says the parking ticket is for an unattended engine. It has a link for people to click to pay the ticket. Don't fall for this and call police if you are ever suspicious.
North Dakota's House has approved a measure making it illegal to pass a pet off as a service animal. If approved in the Senate, you could be fined up to $100 for falsely claiming a pet as a service animal to gain admission to a public place or obtain housing. The legislation does not include emotional support animals. Jamestown Representative Bernie Satrom says his bill is aimed at protecting disabled people who truly rely on service animals.
President Trump is declaring a national emergency to go around Congress to redirect billions of dollars for a border wall.
Opponents are already working on a legal battle to stop it. Peter Alexander has details.
Tonight, President Trump saying he's taking a border crisis into his own hands.
I'm going to be signing a national emergency because we have an invasion of drugs, invasion of gangs, invasion of people, and it's unacceptable.
Already predicting his new strategy for a wall will spark legal challenges.
And they will sue us in the Ninth Circuit, even though it shouldn't be there. And we will possibly get a bad ruling, and then we'll get another bad ruling, and then we'll end up in the Supreme Court, and hopefully we'll get a fair shake, and we'll win in the Supreme Court.
On top of nearly $1.4 billion from that bipartisan border deal, the White House says they'll get close to $7 billion more by diverting money from elsewhere, including military construction funds and counter-drug efforts.
Whether it's $8 billion or $2 billion or $1.5 billion, it's going to build a lot of wall.
Top Democrats immediately blasting the president for violating the Congress's exclusive power of the purse over a crisis that does not exist. While many Republicans are also critical, key conservative allies on TV are backing him.
The president is fighting for safety, security. This is life and death.
But tonight, the president appeared to undermine his argument for an emergency declaration.
Will you concede that you were unable to make the deal that you had promised in the past, and that the deal you're ending up with now from Congress is less than what you could have had before a 35-day shutdown?
I went through Congress. I made a deal. I got almost $1.4 billion when I wasn't supposed to get $1. Not $1. I could do the wall over a longer period of time. I didn't need to do this, but I'd rather do it much faster.
Trading a fight in Congress.
The president's aides still haven't explained how they will move money around for the national emergency, and Puerto Rico's governor is threatening to sue if disaster aid meant for his island is used.
5 people were killed, 6 police officers wounded during a workplace shooting late today outside of Chicago. Tonight, there's police tape up at a suburban Chicago apartment unit where the suspect in the shootings was believed to have lived. He's identified as a 45-year-old man who is believed to have been an employee where the shootings took place. He was fatally shot by police, and tonight investigators have not yet revealed a motive.
North Dakota's Senate has passed a bill that better defines the legal consequences for people who tamper with pipelines and any groups that help them. The legislation says it's illegal to damage energy facilities and other critical infrastructure facilities. It also would increase fines on organizations that conspire with people who tamper with infrastructure. The bill would not prevent lawful assemblies that deal with grievances, including a labor dispute between an employer and its employee. The measure now goes to the House for consideration.
The Hulu original, The Handmaid's Tale, hit the nation's capital today as the show recorded scenes at the National Mall. It was easy to spot cast members and dozens of extras who were dressed in the show's iconic red cloaks with white bonnets. The Lincoln Memorial remained open while crews were filming. Visitors alerted that they might appear in the show. The drama takes place in a totalitarian state that has replaced the U.S. The new season of The Handmaid's Tale, its third, is set to begin in June.
Later on.